All right. Yes, I am crazy. I mean, I do this YouTube thing and I don't even know what I'm doing. I do these live videos and I think 3 of you watch and I think 2 of you are my friends. So, hey, yeah, so that first broadcast at 6 o'clock didn't go so great because apparently a setting in my OBS got changed somehow from last week to this week, and I don't even mess with settings, so I'm not even sure how that happened. But yeah, a setting got changed and it caused all that problem because what I was going to do is I was just going to replay that broadcast that live that I did. I was just going to, replay it and post it as a video, and I couldn't because it was all messed up too. And so yeah, long story short is I figured out what the problem was with the little internet search and all that kind of stuff, and realized that apparently my frames, I think it was my frame rate, for some reason was set way too high, and I don't even mess with that stuff, so I don't know how that happened. It should have been the same as before, but anyways, here we are. I'm going to do this again because I'm going to cut these up into videos. I had everything ready. I wanted to get some of this information out. And hey, I really just like kind of doing this live thing because this live thing is kind of fun. I feel like I'm talking to myself, but hey, that's cool. I can do that. So what I was saying in my other video is, and what I'm going to do in this video, since this is working, I'm going to talk about 3 projects that I've been working on this year. I sat around all winter long thinking of a lot of these projects, and 2 of them just popped up. One that I did with my son the video I did last week with my son, that was one project where he just called me up out of the blue and started talking to me about he wanted to redo his yard, and I just offered my help, and he accepted. I don't know that he really wanted my help, but he accepted. He's my son, so I think he kind of felt obligated to accept it. My neighbor next door, Wilson, he had a really bad grub problem. We're going to show that video of how we took care of that, how we're fixing that, and how it's looking, because it's actually looking really great. I got him a great grass cultivar. I hooked him up with a seed company that's actually here locally in Washington, and they have a great perennial rye, or I think it's perennial rye. It's called Mystique. We put it in his yard to fix that grub problem and that moss problem that he had. So I'm going to show you that. I got my lawn dethatched and aerated with my aeration blade on my Sunjoe. No, I didn't use a core aerator because I don't believe in core aeration as a homeowner. And you shouldn't either as a homeowner, but if you have clay soil, then maybe you should think about it. But for the most part, a homeowner doesn't really need to worry about core aeration. It's way overkill. As you can see, it's later in the morning, so I'm already onto my Mountain Dew. So I'll get that going. Then I also leveled and dethatched, aerated my putting green. Again, I used my Sunjoe aeration blade to aerate my putting green. I sanded it with silicone medium grade sand. It's white, very, very white. I have that video I'm going to show you. I have my lawnmowers out here. I was going to talk about my lawnmowers. Again, I was going to bring my Sunjoe out, but I was too busy fixing this video and the broadcast to actually go out and get it from the shed. So it's still in the shed, sitting there. But I'm going to use it today because I'm going to finish my front yard after this video. That's really the only thing I got going on today. It's about 2 hours worth of work. I'm going to do some sifting, mixing my own sand, my own soil concoction. Because after that 5 yards of dirt that I got with all those rocks, I need to do something better. Because all that is doing is ruining my McLane mower. My McLane mower, it's having some issues right now with the blade and the bed knife and all that. So I'm obviously gonna have to order a new bed knife and get that going. All right, let's go ahead and start and talk about Wilson's yard. Wilson is my next door neighbor, like I said. Oh, sorry, I have my Seattle shirt on, so this is gonna see through here. I thought I put a different shirt on, but apparently I didn't. Wilson's my next door neighbor. he had the grub problem. I did the 24-hour grub killer, bio advanced, and it works great. This is the next day, and these are the few that were still alive, still kicking. But it does work in 24 hours. He had so many grubs, it was actually literally crazy. You could literally peel the grass up. He had a lot of moss and all that, so I killed the moss, just sprayed liquid moss out to kill the moss. And I got started by scalping his yard with my lawnmower. This is my Honda, goes down to 3/4 of an inch. Then I used my Sun Joe and I dethatched it twice. And this is like the first step I did when I was killing moss. Because I actually end up going back and doing this again, but I actually used the aeration blade the second time. This is before his father-in-law came out and dug up all the bad grass that was back up here, way up here in the corner by this little itty bitty tree right here. I don't know if you can see it. Right up here, this tree. So yeah, there's a spot right there. So that was what I kind of started on. I got my rototiller out, my rototiller attachment on my Expandit, my Ryobi battery operated 40 volt Expandit. Got my drag there, and I'm just working on getting this all raked up, declumped, getting the rocks out, leveling it and compacting it with my roller. This is like basically if you were to strip down your yard, this is kind of what you would want to do to get started on that. So this is the Sun Joe right here, and this has got the aeration blade, the verticutting blade, and it's basically just a bunch of blades that spin vertically. And I use it to grind down the high spots. It's really great for loosening up the top little bit of your soil. Here I am working on that spot again, just using my leveling rake, trying to get it all flat and level. Working really hard to do a good job for Wilson. He's a really good guy. I like that guy. He's a good neighbor. So I kind of got that all done. I got it all rolled out and done over there. So I went to my 5-yard dirt pile, got my wheelbarrow, filled it up a bunch of times and dumped it over here. And then I started working on leveling it with my drag. Here's my drag. As you see, I use my drag for everything. Every project I do, I use the drag. And you don't have to use 4x4s. You can get, like some of that, cyclone fencing, the metal squares, you see it everywhere, like at schools and stuff like that. You can get some of that and, make you a little drag with that. Just something heavy and something that's gonna, give you a nice, wide swath of coverage of an area you're gonna drag over. And I use the 4x4s because it's straight and it's flat, and it really helps showing me the uneven parts, the high spots, low spots, and all that kind of stuff, and just helps kind of get it. I don't use it so much for leveling as I do just to make sure I see where I'm at and where I need to work some more, add some more dirt or take some more dirt away. So I got this all done here. I got it all filled in with soil, my level rake, got it all dragged out. I'm raking it up, trying to get it ready. My buddy Jason, he had come over a little bit later, sorry, trying to figure out this whole backwards thing. He came over and helped me, and he was sifting the dirt there using my sifter manually. This is before I put that concrete vibrating motor on it. And he was getting all the rocks out of the dirt that I had raked out of that little spot there. Jason's a good guy. He called up. Actually, I called him up and said, hey man, can you come over and help? And he did. He dumped all the dirt in this area here. So I rolled it, I raked it, I dropped the seed with my stupid Scott's drop spreader. I don't like Scott's anything. I don't know why I have it, but it doesn't even work that great. Anyways, after I dropped the seed, I raked it, I rolled it, and I called it good. I did put some peat moss on top of it, which you're going to see here coming up. Here we go. This is a finished product. Got a little layer of peat moss on it. I rolled that down as well. This was back Good Friday in April, Friday before Easter. So this is about 6 weeks ago. So we're going to have some pictures here to show you kind of what it's looked like over the past couple of weeks. But I think it turned out really good. It was really, really uneven. He had some low spots, some high spots. He had a lot of moss. I tried to get that all taken care of for him, and I didn't kill any grass. I didn't spray any weed killer down at all. I just dealt with the moss and the grubs. He didn't want to do a whole kill off, kind of like my son. He didn't want to do a whole kill off, but it turned out pretty good. So this is, I believe this is a week later. That perennial rye, it germinates really, really quick. I mean, I was really happy with how quickly it germinated and started going. I mean, he's been mowing for the last couple of weeks now. I told him to get on it because it started growing, and I said, you know, hey, mow that grass, mow it as much as you can, because that's going to help get it thickening up, growing better, get some roots going. Just overall, it's going to do nothing but good for your yard. So he's started mowing it. He's been on it. He does it at least once a week. Here it is. This is kind of what it looks like right now. I believe that was just the other day. I can't tell. Get a little closer. Yeah, that's the other day. I'm not sure what's going on over here in this little light green grass area. I'm not sure what happened with that grass patch there. I'm not sure. I know he added some more seed, so that could be just some newer seed that hasn't kind of developed yet. But this is my aerial drone footage right here. I mean, that was last night or 2 nights ago, and it really does look a deep green already. It's getting really green. I want to get some fertilizer on it. I want to get some nitrogen and some iron on it. His sprinkler system doesn't have that great a coverage. I've talked to him about that, but he's got some spots like right here that just don't get any water. And then back over in here, I think he got some washout because his one sprinkler that's down here on the corner, it kind of covers this area a little bit better than, you know, a little bit too good. And I think he got a little bit of washout. And I know that this area right here, it gets a lot of water sprayed on it. So I think that the hitting of the water in this area here has kind of pushed the seed around and made it so it's kind of, you know, washed it out a little bit. I'm sure it's going to grow in fine. I mean, like I said, this is only 6 weeks, which I think is really, really nice. Again, so here was his grub problem. This is just the video repeating itself here. Bio Advanced, that's the stuff. Bio Advanced is Insecticide. Those are my 2 main companies. I use all their products. I think they're great. Moving on. So I'm going to get started on my putting green. So I needed to remove the cup. So I trimmed around the edge of the cup, get it all nice and cut good, because I'm going to put that grass plug back in it. And this grass plug is way overgrown. I cut it with some scissors just to trim it down a little bit, but it was probably a good 3 inches thick, something like that. So it's not the greatest looking. I hadn't really planned ahead on getting this taken care of, but I wanted to get that plug back up so when I dethatched it and aerated it with my aerating blade, it was going to, you know, have something there to keep it from just, you know, falling in the hole or whatever. So I compacted it down really, really good, and it really didn't match very well, but I raked it up to get it ready because I'm going to get ready to mow here in just a second. But normally I would take a new cut of the putting green hole and I'd put it in the old hole and I would just use that same grass. So here I'm actually cutting at 1.5 inches. It was the lowest I was willing to go. And then you see here, this is that whole cut with that there. Here's the good old Sun Joe again. This guy's going to be coming out and making quite a few appearances this year because I'm not done with him still. I've done the putting green and I've done the Kentucky bluegrass in the front yard twice already. And I'm getting ready to use that thing again today on the Kentucky bluegrass because I want to get that taken care of. We'll talk about that in a second. So anyways, I dethatched it twice and I used the Honda lawnmower to suck up all the grass there. You see it does a really good job. This thing does a really great job as a vacuum. I mean, you talk about an overpriced product, this Honda lawnmower, for what I use it for, very overpriced. So after I dethatched it, I did come back and I mowed it again, because it brought up a lot of the laying down blades, because, you know, Kentucky or bent grass, it grows so laterally and spreads that it gets really long, runners and stuff like that. So I just wanted to get it cut nice and tight. Came back and mowed it. So now I'm using that stupid Scott spreader again. I mean, at least it does a good job here with the sand. I have it wide open, and I'm using the medium grit silica sand right here. They're 100-pound bags, and you know, at this time of day, I'm so tired and worn out, I can barely even lift this thing. I'm just kind of, work. So I'm kind of dumping it out of the wheelbarrow into the spreader. I dumped 250 pounds of sand on the putting green, and it pretty well covered it. And then I used my lawn level rake, and I just dragged it, trying to get the dirt worked in as good as possible. I mean, I spent probably a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes just dragging, doing circles on this putting green, getting the sand spread as good as possible. Came back and rolled it, and now I'm going to get back to that stupid Scott's drop spreader. You know, the reason why I call it stupid Scott's is, there's a reason why I don't like Scott's. I'm not going to get into it right now, but you see here, look at all this seed it dumped right here. I mean, I had it open too wide, but the problem is when you push it forward, it doesn't push out at the same consistency as if you pull it backwards. When you pull it backwards, it actually drops better. So I spend more time dragging it than pushing it. But after I got all that seed dropped, I used all the seed that I had. I think I had a 5-pound bag of seed. I don't remember it, maybe a little less. Actually, it was less. But I raked it, and then I rolled it with my roller again. And I wish I had a bigger, heavier roller, because that roller just doesn't have enough weight to it to do, what I want it to do. So, I mean, it does the job, but I got to do it a couple of times. The one thing I do want to note, I want to go back to it here. Let me see if I can get this screen up here. So you see I got my boots over here. I got my boots standing by. So as soon as I get done rolling the grass seed in, I changed my shoes. I didn't slow down and show you that good enough, but that's a key part of when you're dealing with bent grass. The seed is so small and so light and so tiny, it will stick to your shoes. And I'm working really hard at not getting any bent grass into my Kentucky bluegrass. Now I'm sure it's going to happen. I know in my new grass over here, I'm sure there's going to be some seed in there. So I'm going to be spraying tenacity this year, and I'm going to be working on killing bent grass again. But I also do want to work on kind of rounding my green a little bit more. And I'm going to use the tenacity to do that. So, my yard is going to go through some more changes this year. I'm going to have, it's probably going to look a lot worse before it looks better. In fact, it's probably not going to look great till next year, just because of the things I want to do with the putting green and how that's going to make it look. I'm going to talk about tenacity just for a second here, just because there's a point I want to make. I always come back to these YouTube channels and these lawn channels and things that they talk to you and tell you about. And, I would name names of these channels, but, it's probably just not even worth my time. But, a lot of these guys talk about tenacity and tenacity bleaching and all this sort of stuff. And yes, tenacity will bleach some grasses, some more than others. I use this stuff on my Kentucky bluegrass, like literally all winter long. Every 3 weeks I was spraying it on my Kentucky bluegrass. And the only bleaching I got was in the bent grass I was trying to kill. None of my Kentucky bluegrass turned white or bleached out at all. Now, one of the times I was spraying my yard with the tenacity, I had some left over, so I was spraying my patch of grass over here. Well, where my patch of grass is, my spare grass, my nursery, whatever you want to call it, on the side yard over here. I have all my little pots, my little 4-inch pots that I grew all the different types of grass I use in my yards. I have the red creeping fescue, which is a fine fescue. I have bent grass, and I have Kentucky bluegrass, and I have it all growing in those little pots. And my thought was, last year when I did it in November, was I was going to use these pots just to kind of fill some bad areas, or maybe some areas where I get some bad POA or something like that. And I've never really used them. I mean, they're still growing over there. But what I did was I sprayed them all. I just inadvertently, and I was just willy-nilly trying to get rid of all this tenacity. I didn't even think about it, and I just sprayed everything over there. And then I realized I'd sprayed the bent grass, I sprayed the red creeping fescue, and I'd sprayed the Kentucky bluegrass. I wasn't concerned about the Kentucky bluegrass, but I knew it was going to kill the bent grass, and I knew it was going to probably hurt the fine fescue, and it did. So I got over there with a water hose, and I, rinsed it as best as possible, knowing, I'm probably, in a losing battle with this, but I was surprised that it didn't kill the fine fescue or the bent grass. It did bleach it out for a couple of weeks. It did look really bad, and I thought I was going to lose all the fine fescue, but it's actually grown back, and it's actually filling back in pretty well. The bent grass has recovered fully. You would never even know I had sprayed it with tenacity. It came back so well. So maybe the rinsing did help a little bit, but it was a total accident, a total mistake. The fine fescue, it started bleaching out, but it's recovered as well. So when it comes to tenacity and bleaching, my Kentucky bluegrass, I have seen zero bleaching on my Kentucky bluegrass, and I've used it quite a bit on there. And I'm talking, every 3 weeks over the winter I was using it. And I'm using that to kill bent grass. So that's just my experience with tenacity. Again, I really don't believe anything I learn on any of these lawn care channels anymore, because I think that a lot of them are just full of crap and just trying to sell you something. And most of them are. Most of them are trying to sell you a bottle of fertilizer that costs you like $60 and it's going to last you 6 or 7 applications or something like that. I'm using something totally different that lasts me for 2 years at a time, and I spend maybe not even $80 for 2 bags of fertilizer, urea and iron, and both bags 2 years. And I'm actually using the urea nitrogen on my neighbor's yard. I use it on my neighbor across the street, Doug. I've been using it. I use it on Wilson's front yard. I use it at my son's house. So that stuff goes a long way. I mean, it's 4600. It's got a really good concentration of nitrogen, and I'm actually spraying it on my yard because the prills are so big. It burns little popcorn spots in my yard. So I learned that with the first application. So anyways, that's my spiel on that. So this was the other project I was doing. This still continues on with the retaining wall project I had going on. The retaining wall, it was a great project. It's something I've been thinking about for years and years and years, but I just didn't want to put the work into it. I didn't want to put the money into it. And now that my yard is looking fairly nice, I felt it was time to do it. Plus, I'm trying to keep busier with projects this year than I normally am. A lot of times I spend a lot of time out doing stuff, wasting my money at the casino, stuff like that. I enjoy going, I enjoy having fun. But I'm trying to, put that all behind me and spend my money more in my yard and stupid stuff I don't really even need around the house. Like, did I really need a drone? No, but I bought it. So, here I'm using my sod cutter, and I'm just cutting out all these squares. You're going to see here, I'm just making big sod squares to cut out, to yank out. So I got my flathead shovel, and I just one by one started tearing these pieces out. And I laid them on a tarp back over there on the yard. I have a big tarp laid out, and I basically laid them out in the exact order I pulled them, so that when I put them back, I can put them back in the exact order I took them out, so each piece matches up as best as possible. Now, this technique it's not perfect, because when you make these sod squares, let's pause this for just a second. When you make these sod squares, when you pull them out with a flathead shovel, there are some areas that are thicker than others. You got roots that grab to the dirt and all that kind of stuff. And in doing this project right here, I found out two things. One, all the BS of these lawn care channels talking about, you know, humic acid and sea kelp and all that stuff, making your roots, you know, yeah, it probably does all that. I know at least sea kelp will help with roots, especially with sod. But I pulled out, you know, chunks of grass that were like this, and I was tearing roots and ripping roots. So I really feel like, you know, in the 1 year that I've had this grass growing, because I did plant this last April of 2024, this particular Kentucky bluegrass. And when I had planted it, I had taken all the sod out. I had taken all the grass, the sod, and everything out. And so there was nothing there before. So this is all its own roots that it's grown in the year that I've been doing it. And, you know, like I said, I don't use any of these products that these other lawn care channels push on you. And, you know, this is one of the reasons why I show my yard all the time, because I'm not showing my yard to brag about it or say I got the best yard, because you know what? There's a lot of people out there that got really nice yards. And I feel a lot of them do a lot more than they need to do. But what I'm trying to portray and show is you can have a great yard without all those products. And what I really feel bad for is I feel bad for all the new homeowners and new guys that are starting to learn about lawn care. And they're watching these big YouTube channels of these guys telling you all this stuff to do that you don't need to do, all this money you need to spend that you don't need to spend. And as a new homeowner, I know when I bought my first house, I didn't have a lot of money to put into it. And if I was spending, you know, $60, $100 every couple of months on fertilizer just for my grass to make it look good, you know, that would have been a lot of money back then. Now, I could do that if I wanted to. I could buy all these products and spend the $200 every 4 months to have all these different products and put them in my yard. But what I realized is I'm just wasting my money. And it's not even that I need the money. I don't need the money. And it has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with, I just realized I'm putting a lot of products in my yard that my yard doesn't need. And, you know, I go against the grain on a lot of things. And, you know, I decided that I was just going to stop doing it. I want to see, you know, bent grass, putting green, mowing at 1/4 of an inch, 2 millimeters. That is all new to me. I just started doing that 2 years ago. And I had no clue what I was doing. And I was watching these YouTube channels, Yard Bro, Lawn Care Nut, DIY Lawn Coach, you know. Guys I like, Mr. Ferguson, I like that guy. You know, he gives a lot of bad information sometimes, but, you know, I think for the most part, he's trying to put out a good, honest, you know, a product and stuff like that. The Dallas Lawn Guy, I like that guy. He's got Bermuda grass, but, you know, he, you know, has a lot of knowledge about grass and stuff like that. Still, I think he does a little bit more than he needs to do, but, you know, that's the thing. You can do what you want to do with your lawn. If you want to pump all these products into your lawn, you know, pump them. You know, I got 2 bottles of stuff I'd give you right now if you want to come grab them. Brand new bottles. I bought them, I don't use them, and I'm not going to use them. You know, so I don't push any phosphorus. I don't push any of these things. And this is just where my whole problem with all these lawn care channels came up, was they don't give you the best info. They're just trying to push a product on you. And I'll get off the old, you know, high horse there. It really drives me nuts, because I watch them all the time still. And I could go on about a lot of stuff that I just even heard this last week about doing stuff like one guy was talking about his putting green and how much work it is. Oh, don't do a putting green. It's so much work. And you got to, you know, fertilize. And I haven't fertilized my putting green in almost 2 months. It's been since April, like mid-April, the last time I had fertilized my putting green. And I only put nitrogen on it and a little bit of iron. And I've actually cut back on my iron because it's got sulfur and it lowers the pH. And, you know, I told you guys all about my pH testing I've been doing, and my soil kit, and how it's just a big lie. I thought my pH in my soil was good, but I went and did a Mehlich 3 test, and I found out that my pH in my soil was not good. It was low. So now I'm working on trying to get that back up. So anyways, getting back to I dumped a bunch of dirt in there, the last of my 5 yards of topsoil right here. Boom, boom, boom. I scraped every last little bit, used the last bit of tag row I had in my side yard, and you know, I don't even like the tag row, but it's not going in as topsoil, so it's just being buried. So I put it in with it, and I just had enough to fill this area here and make it so it was going to work. But so I raked it, leveled it. There's my drag again, my favorite toy. Dragged it, rolled it, raked it, used my level rake. You know, I just do that stuff over and over and over again until I feel I've got it. You know, and the thing I like about the level, or the drag, is the fact you can put a level on it. And it's going to give you a good eye on where you're at with certain things. If you want it level, if you don't want it level, you know, how much bubble you want, how much you don't want. So putting the pieces of sod back in was pretty easy. I mean, like I said, it's not a perfect science. So there's some pieces that are a little bit thicker, and you gotta, you know, use like a trowel or something like that to knock off some of the dirt to get it back to the right thickness. Because, you know, when I put this dirt down, it was perfectly level and, you know, perfectly fine. But the sod pieces were definitely not all the same thickness and stuff. So I had to work on getting that sod to fit back in there really good. So I'm going to be coming back at the end of the video on this right here, and I'm going to be leveling this and putting soil down, my soil mix that I made, and I'm going to be putting it in here to get this looking good. But here you can see I've got it all patched up. It's amazing, you know, how quickly the grass will start losing its color when you pull it out of the ground and, you know, shock the roots and all that. You know, plus I'm kneeling on it and I'm squishing it, so, you know, it's not the most level there. So it was a little bumpy, but I'm going to fix that. But it actually turned out really well. It's nice and level with the retaining wall now. I like how it looked. So this is me mowing after I dethatched for the first time on the Kentucky bluegrass. You know, I'm using a setting of 5 on the Sunjoe, which 5 is the lowest it will go. And I use it on my putting green at 5, and I use it on my Kentucky bluegrass at 5. And again, I dethatched twice, both ways, up and down, back and forth. This is the second dethatching, I believe. And then I came back with the aeration blade, and I did the aeration blade at number 5 as well. And I really, really thinned that grass out quite a bit. And I'm not quite done with that part of the project, but yeah, so here I'm using the verticutting blade right here, the aeration blade. And I'm really getting down into it. And the thing I like about the aeration blade is that it really helps, you know, knock down some of those high spots in the yard. And those are the spots that, you know, show up the most in my yard. Plus, since I did scalp this down to 3.5 millimeters, 1/4 of an inch is 6.3 millimeters. So, you know, it's a good almost 3 millimeters. I dropped it down from its normal cut. I mean, you can't go much more than 3 millimeters. I mean, my putting green is 2. So, I mean, that's pretty freaking low. So I did get some scalping in a couple of spots. I do have some low spots where the mower wheels kind of dropped down and scalped a line in the grass. But yeah, I know it's going to all grow back. That's the good thing about grass, is it does grow back. So now I'm using my Expandit, Ryobi Expandit. I got the edging blade on here, and I'm going to edge, you know, one last time. Well, I'll probably edge again today, because I'm going to go ahead and kind of level it, but I'm just basically putting a good topsoil down on top of it, a good mix of compost or topsoil. I even got some steer manure and some sand. But I just try to put a good clean edge on that, tighten up my water meter there, get that all nice and tight. And I'll come back with my blower and get this all blown off. You know, now I know a lot of you guys got really nice lawns out there, and even if you don't have a nice lawn, you're just looking to try to find a way to get a new nice good lawn. You know, it's really nice when, you know, people are driving by, and, you know, I get lots of traffic in my neighborhood. And I'm just kind of getting more and more, you know, people stop by, you know, people I don't even think live on the block. I don't even know where they're probably going to visit some friends and stuff like that. No, they'll drive by, they'll stop, they'll roll their window down. They're like, "Oh man, your lawn is great. I love coming back over here and seeing your lawn. Your lawn looks so great." You know, and that's not why I do it, and that's not what I'm looking for. I personally, I like a low cut lawn. I mean, I grew up on a golf course. I've always loved the golf course look and grass, and that was my whole goal when I started this project in 2023. I cut away from what I thought I wanted to do, which was tall fescue. And after that failed project, I went this way and I said, you know what, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna see what's up. I'll drop the $1,200 or $1,400 on a California trimmer and see what I can do with a real mower. And went down that path. And I had a guy drive by yesterday while I was out working on the mower, riding his bicycle by. And he's like, "Hey man, you got a great lawn." You know, just yelling as he's riding by. And I was like, "Oh, that's so great." You know, so it's nice, you know, it makes you feel good when people, you know, do that kind of stuff. But I by far am not doing it to be stand out from the neighborhood or be, you know, recognized for a great lawn. You know what? I do it for me. And I think that's the reason you should do anything, is do it for yourself or your family or, you know, the people you love. I really care less what other people think. I mean, look, I do it to the stupid YouTube channel. You know, I mean, you can't get more dumb than that. So, you know, here I leveled this out. This is the area that I just cut the sod pieces out of. And this is my soil mix. It's a 4-way soil that I did myself. I have not sifted this. I should have, but I didn't. There's a lot of little pieces of you know, wood compost in there and stuff like that. So before I put any sand down on the rest of my Kentucky bluegrass, I am definitely going to sift it and get it so there's those large pieces of stuff are out of there. But yeah, so I just leveled it. I just, you know, put the soil down, I raked it, got my level out, I leveled it, and then I'm going to roll it, and then, you know, I'm going to look for high spots. I'm just going to kind of drag my lawn level out and just look for the spots that need it. Now here's the important part right here. See me dusting off my roller? I'm dusting off my roller because I just got done rolling the bent grass. And I'm trying to make sure there's not one piece of bent grass seed on that roller before I start rolling my Kentucky bluegrass. I think I did it. I think I got it all, but there's going to be some bent grass in there, I'm sure. I'll be killing bent grass in a couple of months. So I got this all rolled out. I mean, I think it turned out really good. You know, I'm just using the last bit of my soil that I have, and this was not a mix of. I've already used all of my pile of dirt I got, or 5 yards of dirt. The crap that had all the rocks in it. This is not that same dirt. This is definitely dirt that I mixed myself. Topsoil, compost, sand, and lawn soil. So I was pretty happy with this. I was cooking ribs this day, so I kind of wanted to get out of the yard and go finish that and have some ribs. So I tried to get this done as quick as possible. This is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and this is kind of completing this project right here. Spreading seed down. This is my Kentucky Bluegrass Fairway Blues. I get it from, oh gosh darn it, I can't remember the name of the company now. They're in Nebraska. It's a special blend. It's a fairway blend that they make for golf courses and stuff like that. They kind of laugh at me when I call and I order 10 pounds or 15 pounds or whatever. So you saw I spread it down, I raked it, and then I did roll it again. And then here you can just kind of see with this board, this is what it looked like when it was not leveled to the retaining wall. So, you know, like I said, it was a good 6 inches that I needed to raise that up. And we will see in the next couple, oh, watch this, watch, here we go. Oh, ow, oh. Yeah. So I'm gonna start talking about my green and low mowing. I'm gonna do this again, get out of the way. Because I don't make the putt like that often. Look at that, ooh yeah. So I do these videos right here. I don't do this to show off my putting skills because I have none. I think that was the only putt I made of all these putts. But you know, look at how I'm putting for pretty far away. It's like a good 20 feet. Because it's from one end of my putting green. The hole is maybe 5 feet off the edge of the back end or the front end of the green, and I'm at the back end. And I do these videos to show smooth and speed, the smoothness and the speed of the putting green. You know, again, cut at 2 millimeters. I mean, this is better kept putting green than most golf courses. I mean, you have to go to the top-notch, really good golf courses that, you know, cost lots of money to get a smooth green like I have in my front yard. Now, I'm not saying that my putting green is like the best and I'm the best at doing it. Definitely not saying that at all. I've worked really hard to learn how to do this and to get it to where I can cut 2 millimeters. I have worked with the golf course superintendent, you know, learning some things about putting green and all that sort of stuff. And that was one of the first places I started learning about using all these products. He laughed at me when I told me the products I was using on my lawn. He just like, are you freaking kidding me right now? He's like, you seriously, you put all that on your lawn? And I said, yeah, man. I mean, that's what all the pros in the YouTube sphere say. And I got a good education from him about nutrients and things like that. And that was my beginning down the path of less nutrients. And it's really worked out for me. I mean, look at my putting green. This is, I want to say this is 2 weeks ago, I can't remember. I think it's 2 weeks ago. Yeah, this was when my neighbor Chuck came over and he was putting with me. You know, it's not summer here. It's not even really nice weather. We're getting rain at least every couple of days still. And we were in the 40s at night still up until a couple of weeks ago. We're still in the 40s sometimes at night, and we're barely getting to 70 on the hottest days. I mean, we had an 80-degree day one day last week, I think it was, or the week before. But for the most part, we'll get like 2 or 3 nice days, and then we'll get like 5 terrible days where it's, you know, below 60, you know, overcast, windy, cold at night, you know. So our temperatures are all over the place. And I believe this was the day after it rained really hard too. And you know, this putting green is it's going really good. It's rolling good. It's smooth. It's not as flat as I thought it was. It's got some break to it in some areas. And it's not like it's super unlevel, but there is some breaks in some areas. So it is a challenge. And it's nice to be able to, you know, sit from, you know, I mean, look how far that is, and practice putting. You know, if you're an avid golfer and you want to have a putting green, you can do this. This is not as much work as you think it is. I do a lot more work. I just make up projects to do in the yard, but technically, if I mow it at least twice a week and I dethatch and aerate cut it, you know, a couple times a year, and I don't even really do that. I do it mostly just once a year. I'll probably do it twice this year, but I really just mow it. And I don't even use a grass catcher. You know, I use my blower on it to blow the clumps off when it's thick, because I have a hard time mowing twice a week. I work 50 hours a week, and you know, I leave at, you know, 6:30 in the morning, and I don't get home till 6:30, 7 o'clock at night a lot. And I don't like mowing after 7, and sometimes I just won't do it. So it might be 4 days before I mow, and it's thick, so it gets a little clumpy, and it may be wet because it rains a lot, you know. So I mean, all the things that you hear about from all the professionals, you know, I don't care who they are, you know, they tell you don't mow it when it's wet, you know, don't do this, don't cut it short, don't do any of that stuff. I don't have any weeds. I have no weeds, and I haven't put any, except for the tenacity I was putting down, which, yes, that's a pre and post emergent. I haven't used anything on my putting green. I haven't sprayed anything on my putting green for over, I don't think I've ever really sprayed anything on my putting green. So, I mean, weeds, I just don't really have them, and I don't really spray for them. I do have some products I talked about last week, you know, that I use, but it's mostly in my backyard. My backyard, I get more weeds than the front yard. So I'm going to talk to you about the lawnmower here real quick. I'm trying not to go too long here. Let me get this view going here. And, oh, well, that didn't work. Let's see here. Did my camera go off? Oh, my camera's off. I wonder. Give me a second. Sorry about that. I thought I had this going. There, how's that? Is that working? Oh, that's what I was looking for. All right. I think I put my camera on the wrong thing and I didn't check it. So I just want to talk to you, because, you know, I'm kind of talking just about low cutting, low mowing in your yard. You know, if you want to get the low cut look and you want to do it, it's something that's very feasible. You know, it just might cost you a little bit of money, because that lawnmower right there, that's what's going to cost you. That's probably your big investment into doing a, get this going here. You can get a California trimmer for probably $1,800. It'll cut to 1/4 of an inch. This is the McLane Greenskeeper. It's a 20-inch. It's got 10 blade reel. I've got a custom roller on mine. That's what allows it so I can go down to 2 millimeters. These are easy to work on. I mean, very easy to work on. A few simple videos. I have a lot of videos on my channel about working on a McLane, about adjusting the height, about sharpening the blade, doing the backlapping. I even have the kit that does the reversing of the blade for when you backlap, because you need the blade to go the opposite direction. A lot of people just remove the chain and use a tool that will turn their blade with using their screwdriver, their screw gun. You know, for me, I had a hard time doing that. I was glad the McLane came out with the kit, or has the kit. It's pretty simple to put on. It only takes an extra 10 minutes a time when you're doing your back lap. And the great thing about it is you can, you know, put the blades rolling by holding the handle. You know, put your backlapping compound on the blade by using the paintbrush, going back and forth. And again, I have the video on my channel if you want to see how we do that. And you know, I can then stand back here and just let the blade spin by holding it like this, and I don't got to be holding the drill gun, the screw gun, or anything like that. I can just hold this up and it'll sit here and do it. And I do have a board, call it my safety board, and I use it for adjusting my bed knife and my height of cut. But I also use it because it's got a couple of blocks on the top of it that basically will hold the mower in place. So in case the drive wheel did engage and it started wanting to go forward, it's got the blocks in front to kind of keep it from going forward. So it would hopefully at least prevent it, or it would make enough, you know, jostling around of things if it did happen to where I could release the clutch and stop it from going. But that comes to the next great thing about this McLane, is it does have its own separate drive handle. You've got the reel handle, which the reel handle, it does engage everything. It engages the reel, the clutch, it gets the reel going, it gets the drive tire going, it basically gets everything spinning. But the drive tire doesn't start driving until you engage the drive wheel. And that's what this does. Basically, this lever just engages the drive wheel back here, and it just puts it on the ground. California trimmer doesn't have that. California trimmer, when you do this, you pull the clutch in, the tire starts spinning and the blade starts spinning. So this mower here, you can actually hand push without it being, the drive wheel being engaged. That's a nice thing about this. If you got tight corners, tight areas of your lawn, you want to just kind of push it to kind of get those areas dialed in, you can push it. The other great thing about the McLane is the micro adjusting. You can literally, and I mean you can, adjust this cutting height to anything you want within its realm. Now McLane advertises that cutting between 3 millimeters and 3/4 of an inch. So anywhere in between those numbers, you can adjust this blade to specifically. It's not like on my Honda here. My Honda has these levers. These levers are at like 1/2 inch increments or whatever they are. It looks like 1/2 inch, but I don't know what they are. But you have to go to those heights of cut. You don't have a choice to go in between. You can't go halfway. With this thing here, because of this adjustment right here, and this is basically a micro tuning adjustment, you can adjust the height to anything you want it to be. If you want it to be 9/16, you can make it 9/16. If you want it to be 6 millimeters, you can make it 6 millimeters. If you want it 1/4 of an inch, which is just over 6 millimeters, you can do that. You can set it to any height you want. Now, this is a 2.5 inch roller. This is what allows me to go to 2 millimeters. This actually will let me cut to dirt level. I can literally scalp my grass to dirt, absolute dirt level, because I can get the bed knife to go that low to the ground and cut with this 2.5 inch. The stock McLane reel is 2 7/8 inch, and that is what will get you to 3 millimeters to 3/4 of an inch. And the reason why you can't go any lower than 3 millimeters with the McLane stock reel or roller is because this roller will actually hit the reel when you have it set all the way down. If you go any lower than 3 millimeter, your reel will actually start rubbing on your blades as you're mowing. So that's why you can't go any lower. With this here, because it's smaller, you have more clearance to go lower. So I can. Now I have a 3 inch reel roller, which allows me to raise it higher up, so I can have a higher cut for like my backyard, which is at like 3/4 of an inch. So that's just one great thing I like about. Now this is a custom roller. I got it at Golf Co. They're in Redmond, Washington, and they specialize. That's all they do is rollers for golf courses, baseball fields, stadiums, the Olympics. I mean, any professional sporting good place, that's what they do. That's why I like the McLane. It's got an on-off switch. It's got a Honda motor. It's got a choke, of course. This Honda mower is really easy to start. My Honda over there, of course, it has a Honda motor on it, and it's really easy to start. And I like it because it cuts down to 3/4 of an inch. That's like the lowest rotary mower I've ever found that cuts that low. It's that specific model. I think it's the HRX 217. And the one thing about Honda is they're supposedly stopping making all of their motors, which those motors are like the greatest. I know everybody likes them. So get it while you can. That mower, Honda Rotary mower, is a little pricey. It's like $800, $750, something like that. I got it at Home Depot last year, and I really don't use it that often. So all right, well, that's about all I got. Putting green. I hope you get some good information out of this video. I'm just trying to provide, accurate information, or at least information that's useful for most people. Because if you don't know, you don't know. And I hate not knowing something, and then I hate being told something wrong, and then going down doing that, and then looking like the idiot at the end. That, oh, I listened to this guy, and now I'm doing all this stuff, and like having that golf course superintendent guy laughing at me when I told him all the products I was using. He literally just, yeah, it was not a fun situation with that guy for when I was talking to him about that. I was like, sorry for opening my mouth, saying, oh my God, I can't believe that. So I got educated pretty well, but that was what I needed, and that was all I wanted. I just wanted to know. So, hey, I'm gonna have another great set of videos next week. Please like and subscribe to my channel so more people can see it. Make some comments. I can take it, it's fine. I'm just trying to put out some information that might help you out in your lawn, from not wasting your money and putting more of your money into other things that you would like to do and less into your lawn, but still have a nice, great lawn and have it looking good. And also learning about low mow cutting and why you should do it. I think you should. I think it looks great. If your grass is cut at 2 inches, to me, I don't think it looks great at all. That's just my opinion though, because I just don't like having footprints in my lawn. I don't like seeing the lawn laying down from the wheels of the mower going over it and all that stuff. So anyways, hey, have a great day. And again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please kind of help me out so I can get my content out to other people that I just want to help them out, save the money.